Good morning, everyone. It's Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the threats for severe weather. And by the way, they actually kind of do look like they could be significant. But that's not just what we're only going to be talking about. We're also going to be going over these storm systems that are going to be impacting the U.S. And that will even bring more in the way of winter storm potentials to possibly areas farther down south. So we'll have to really watch these areas closely. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and start you guys off on the severe weather threat. And as you guys see, we actually do have a slight risk for severe weather across the deep south. And as you see, it includes this area right here. It does include the populated city Houston, getting into New Orleans, getting into Mobile, and then as far north as Alexandria. So those areas will all have to be on high alert for some possible tornadoes, high winds, and as well as some larger hail. So we'll have to watch those areas very closely, and if we look at the threats, like I said, we will have to watch for some pretty big tornadoes. Some may be strong, but it depends if we see an upgrade with this or not. If we don't see an upgrade, we may not expect strong tornadoes, but we can't rule out some like EF2 tornadoes at the most. But we'll have to watch this area closely as we head into tomorrow. This is from Monday into Tuesday, and then we even got that 2% around that 5%. So we'll have to watch for some pretty big tornadoes tomorrow. Even though the threat is small, we still have to kind of take this serious, guys. And then for the wind threat, we do have a pretty big wind threat across this area. And then for the hail threat, it includes kind of a similar area, just mainly stays off to the west. So doesn't include Mobile or Tallahassee, at least with the marginal risk, but it does include some of these areas. And then we also have another threat for severe weather to talk about. We got another slight risk for severe weather across portions of the East Coast and as well as the Southeast. This includes the Carolinas, Georgia, and even Florida. So if you guys do live in these areas, be on high alert for Tuesday into Wednesday, which will be after tomorrow. So if you do live in those areas, I would definitely be on high alert and even watch for tornadoes too as well. And then we even have another threat. At least the Storm Prediction Center actually had a threat for severe weather earlier. It doesn't look like it's pulled up anymore, but I thought it was still pulled up. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and look at your guys' excessive rainfall outlook. And for day one, which is today, we pretty much have 0% chance for flash flooding, which isn't a very big deal at all. At least we kind of get a break. But look what happens on day two. The chance for flash flooding increases significantly, and we do have a moderate risk for flash flooding across the Gulf Coast states, and that includes New Orleans, Baton Rouge, getting into Hattiesburg, Mississippi, getting into Gulfport, and then into Mobile. So if you guys do live in those cities, be on extremely high alert for some pretty good flooding, okay? Especially New Orleans. Some of you guys might even be living in New Orleans, especially for how populated it is. But whether you live in New Orleans or not, just be aware in this area. If you have any travel plans to go to these areas, be on high alert for major flooding and even big tornadoes too as well, because that threat did include these areas. So big tornadoes, large hail, and as well as major flooding will be possible across that area. And this is from Monday into Tuesday, and that's exactly the same day as the severe weather threat we were looking at. And now on day 3, as you see, that shifts off way farther to the north and as well as northeast, and we actually see another moderate risk for major flooding across places like New Jersey, getting into eastern Pennsylvania, and then back through a little bit of New York. So we'll have to watch these areas very closely. I'm kind of surprised it does include a very, very populated city, which is Philadelphia, but it actually does almost include New York. I wouldn't be surprised if New York still caught some of that water, and I also wouldn't be surprised to see all that water move into New York. So areas around that moderate risk will also have to watch for major flooding too as well. So I mean, just because you guys are seeing a low threat, or at least a lower threat I should say, doesn't necessarily mean you guys won't see flooding. And that does include New York, Bridgeport, getting into let's see, Harrisburg, and then even some other areas too as well. So we'll have to watch that closely. And now let's look at day 4, and as you see, we actually do have a marginal risk for just Maine getting into New Hampshire, and then our chances for flash flooding do die down. So yeah, we'll have to still watch very closely though. And then on day 6, or I mean 6 to 10 day outlook by the Climate Prediction Center. As you guys see, just look at this, guys, well below average temperatures anywhere from January 12th to January 16th is when you can expect well below average temperatures, especially for this area right here. I'll go ahead and move it up so you guys can see. And as you guys see, pretty big area of above average. I'm going to go ahead and circle it, and as you guys see, this is about pretty much 100% chance for below average temperatures. Isn't that just crazy? Pretty much 100% chance of below average temperatures. And I mean, we'll have to watch very closely, but even some of these blue areas, like heading into Indiana and even back out west, those areas will also could see some pretty well below average temperatures too as well. We even have that moderate risk for below average temperatures, but I already showed you guys that in the other video, so I don't think I need to show you guys that again. But if you guys want me to show you it, I guess I might post it on my community page, but we're not really going to worry about that as of right now. And then with the 8 to 14 day outlook, which is anywhere from January 14th to January 20th, and as you guys see, the chance kind of does die down a little bit, but even shifts farther east, and as well as maybe a little bit farther west too as well, but mainly includes the plains. But we'll have to really watch very closely for still well below average temperatures. And now, if we look at the precipitation, as you see, the eastern United States is still continuing to see pretty well above average precipitation across that area, while we are having kind of an isolated area of above average precipitation, and that does include Wyoming, getting into Colorado, and as well as Utah. So we'll have to watch those areas very closely. And then on the 8 to 14 day outlook, still continuing to see above average for Wyoming, even New England, and then even California. But the chances do die down, and we start to see some in the way of below average precipitation. And now, if we go ahead and start looking at your guys' radar, we're going to take us back, and you guys see that storm system is still going to start heading out of the United States, and then we start to see another one move through. This one might not bring as much snowfall, but we'll still have to watch very closely, though. I kind of was expecting maybe some snow on the back side of that, and it sounds like we might be able to see that. And then as we continue to take that forward, we'll see some maybe another round of snow move through. It doesn't sound like this one's gonna be as significant, but we'll still have to watch very closely. And then we'll see another one move through with possibly some snowfall on the back end too as well. And I mean, crazy ice storm, by the way. Just look at that, guys. A pretty big strip of ice right there across Illinois and getting into maybe Missouri. So I mean, we'll have to watch for a possible another storm system moving through. It's just that we're heading terribly far out. We're pretty much heading almost at the very end, so I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe another storm system move through, but a lot of uncertainty on how it plays out. Now, your total precipitation whole entire eastern United States seeing at least anywhere from an inch to almost 5 inches of rainfall. And then back to the northwest, we actually are seeing as high as 5 inches too as well. But the southeast and as well as the south will have to watch for flash flooding, and even up here to the north, at least across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, getting into New York, will also have to watch for flash flooding. All other areas we could see some localized flooding, but still will have to be watched closely. And now, if we look at your guys' total snowfall, as you guys see, we are seeing some pretty good snowfall. As you see, we are seeing a pretty good strip of snowfall right here that could be at least a foot of snow or maybe a little bit less in some areas, but places like Indianapolis, getting into Columbus, Ohio, and then getting into, let's see, Buffalo, New York, and then even a little bit of New Hampshire, and even some of New York, like maybe the Albany area. So those areas will all have to be on high alert for some possible heavy snowfall as well. So at least a foot of snow or more could be possible as we head into, let's see, I gotta scroll up, as we head into January 13th. So we'll have to watch that closely. And now we're gonna start you guys off on the GFS model, and as you guys see, the GFS model actually shows something pretty significant with this next storm system. And with this next storm system, it actually kind of does show some pretty good storms and even some heavy snowfall farther north towards Indianapolis. And then look at all those storms farther down south. I'll actually go ahead and show you guys how the severe weather threat is. It's pretty much this area right here that has the potential for severe weather, and I'm not joking about that. This whole area right here has the potential for severe weather, and as you guys see, we might have to go ahead and go up here a little bit. It kind of freezes on me a few times. Don't worry, that's not necessarily my fault, but will this even work? I do apologize, guys. I thought this was really gonna work, but I guess it won't. But okay, I got it to work now, thank goodness. But anyway, we actually do have some pretty good beam storms across the south and southeast that will kind of head out as kind of a line of storms, and we may even see some snow on the backside of that in some areas. But as we continue to take that forward, we might actually start to see another system move through, and that's pretty much going to be the one that kind of like strengthens. Look at that, guys. Wow, very heavy snowfall across parts of southwest Indiana, guys. That's gonna be some pretty possible potential winter storm conditions right there, and then maybe even some more snow on the backside of that. And then we'll have to watch for another one, which may also bring some pretty heavy snowfall too as well. So we will kind of maybe see some isolated storms just move through, but it sounds like we will see less in the way of big storms. Okay, so that's kind of something to think about, is we'll see less in the way of big storms as we head past that one. But we'll have to watch very closely as we head to like the end of January, but that's really far out that I probably don't even want to forecast that far yet. But anyway, if we look at our total precipitation with the GFS model, we are seeing a pretty big area of at least 2 to 5 inches, maybe even a little bit higher in some areas. So this whole area right here is at least seeing 1 to 3 inches, and then this area right here is seeing anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. Same goes for this area right here, and same goes for this area. This area right here is kind of seeing at least 3 inches or more, which may cause some localized flooding with the storm system that's already gonna move through as we head into Tuesday. So we'll have to watch that storm system closely, and as you guys see, we just continue to see rain across the northwest too as well. So we'll have to really watch closely. And now, if we look at your guys' total snowfall now, as you guys see, the GFS model actually doesn't show the same thing as the European model. Just look at that, guys. Farther down south, let's say around Evansville, we actually aren't really seeing a lot of agreement that we will be seeing a ton of snowfall, but I mean the GFS model shows significant snowfall towards Evansville, and what I mean by that is that the European model doesn't even want any snowfall down here, at least not very much. So I'm kind of surprised to see at least one model show at least some very heavy snowfall across this area. I kind of want to go ahead and zoom in to show you guys how this really plays out, because as you guys see this line right here, I'll go ahead and draw it for you. This line right here kind of shows where it ends, and it kind of ends like pretty much near the Evansville area right there. So this is something we really have to keep an eye on. Okay, so as you guys see, it kind of ends before it really hits the southeast part of Indiana, so we'll have to watch that very closely. I'm just saying, I'm kind of surprised to see the European model not show as much snowfall compared to the GFS model, but we're gonna go ahead and zoom back out to how we were before. And as you guys see, we even see this entire area. I'll go ahead and circle, guys, for you. This entire area right here could see 1 foot of snowfall. So some of those areas that we were just talking about, which were right here, we could see at least as high as 1 foot of snowfall, but we'll have to keep watching. I mean, we kind of are only heading 5 days out, which might not seem terribly long, but I mean, we still expect changes even though we're not heading terribly far out. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. We'll continue keeping you guys updated on how the total snowfall may play out. It sounds like some of Indiana could get as high as 1 foot of snow. We're not totally sure where, because the European model didn't show as much for the southwest part of Indiana, but we'll have to still watch that very closely. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I will do one tomorrow.